Strongman General Khalifa Haftar wants Tripoli. Together with his Libyan National Army, he hopes to capture the country's capital and take full control of this oil-rich nation. And it's partly because of oil that Russia and Turkey have waded in on either side of this conflict, with Turkey behind Fayez al Serraj's UN-backed government and Russia supporting Haftar. Moscow has denied reports it sent mercenaries to reinforce the general's fighters. But on Thursday, Turkey confirmed it had started deploying troops to help al Serraj in Tripoli, despite a UN arms embargo. With Libya so unstable, the fear of resurgent Islamist terror has worried many European countries. But other factors mean the EU is split over its alliances. Officially, the Tripoli-based government has the backing of Europe, including Germany. But Italy has openly supported General Haftar, who it sees as crucial in stemming the flow of migrants across the Mediterranean. And France's concerns over terrorism, as well as its interests in Libya's oil wealth, has put it at odds with the EU's official line. There are claims it's given covert military help to General Haftar. Earlier this week, peace talks in Moscow broke down. Despite the many interests at stake and the players involved, Germany seems determined to pursue its mediation role. But even if a ceasefire is agreed, the road to peace looks long and bumpy.
Let's get some analysis on this story. Now we have Oliver Guitta with us. He's the managing director of Global Strat. That's an international security and geopolitical risk consultancy firm. Oliver, thank you very much for joining us here in studio. First of all, this question, do you think Khalifa Haftar will actually abide by this ceasefire?
It's tough. The track record is not very good. I mean, we've seen Macron has tried to be the main deal broker between Serraj, the UN-backed government, and Khalifa Haftar, even where, after a communiqué of a ceasefire, of an agreement, nothing happened because both sides didn't sign the agreement. So we have to make sure that Khalifa Haftar, when it comes to Berlin, will actually sign the piece of paper along with Serraj. But at the same time, he has no inkling to basically have a ceasefire. He's winning on the ground more than before because of the help of the Russians, of the mercenaries that Putin has sent, about 2,000 people from Wagner. But at the same time, as you've seen, Turkey is becoming extremely involved and sending also this week 2,000 Syrian mercenaries. So we have the risk of a major escalation between extremely motivated and well-trained people. So we could have a bloodbath in Tripoli, and that's why the international community is trying to put an end to this.
What about the peace conference this weekend here in Berlin? A lot of people are saying this is such a multi-layered conflict. The fact that all these sides are coming together to a table to speak, including General Haftar, is in itself a victory. I mean, how do you see this?
It has happened in the past. I mean, the French and the Italians were extremely successful to put all the people around the table. But when it came to action, nothing happened. So yes, it's going to be a PR coup to say, look, everybody's coming to Berlin. But at the same time, on the ground, things are extremely fluid. And also, you have on both sides patrons that are giving the orders. We know that in Moscow, the ceasefire didn't get signed between Haftar and Serraj because Egypt was pushing for Haftar not to sign it. And it was a big setback for Vladimir Putin that it didn't happen because he's playing both sides. Russia is playing both sides. They're edging their bets. At the same time, here in Berlin, the fact that Angela Merkel is now getting involved is the third actor, if you will, within the EU that is pushing for this. I don't think she'll have a miracle recipe that Macron or the Italians tried earlier.
We hear the German foreign minister say that if developments in Libya are allowed to continue, then Libya will become the next Syria, and nobody wants that to happen. What is at stake on the ground here? What are we talking about?
So Libya is much more complicated than Syria, if it can be, but it is. It is much more dangerous, and it has a much closer tie to Europe. So it's a triple layer risk. The first one being that this war goes on protracted for another 10 years, and it's a proxy war. So it's basically a World War III by proxy in Libya, because on one side you have Egypt, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, France, and Russia. On the other side, you have Qatar, Turkey, and Russia. The US was involved at one point in 2016 to get rid of Islamic State. So the second risk is Islamic State using this opportunity of the fighting between Serraj and Haftar to come in and regroup. And we've had information this week that about 1,000 fighters from Islamic State in Idlib, Syria, settled in Libya.
Okay.
So they want to rekindle Islamic State there.
Okay, so definitely a lot at stake there. Oliver Guitta, Managing Director of Global Strat, thank you so much for joining us here in the studio.
Pleasure.